introduce the person of Ken Ofori-Atta, who I have known for more than 30 years closely. I consider him a friend and a mentor. He gave me a job at Enterprise where I was able to excel and make my name in the corporate world. He remained a friend. He's a fellow, a colleague fellow at the Aspen Institute, where he introduced me. I respect Ken. I think history will be kind to him, especially in his work in the private sector, building data bank, helping to build our stock exchange. It will be kind to him. But I cannot defend everything Ken has done in government. And I'm also not one of the people who abandons his friends because they make one mistake. So I speak on principle. I would say what I disagree on, but I want this to be clear, that I do not abandon Ken. I still respect him, and I'll still defend him personally. With that said, here's the point. The special prosecutor who we all worked to establish, something you remember, is doing what I think is fair work. Somebody may say, well, maybe he's been too aggressive. He necessarily must be aggressive. We asked for that. I remember when Occupy Ghana, all of us were part of that, when it went to court, the Supreme Court said, under the circumstance this country finds itself in, people who are given power, government power, to do things like surcharge, disallowance, and fight corruption, must even consider discretion as a duty. In other words, given the situation we are in, it's good to have an aggressive special prosecutor, OSP. So in that sense, we support him. And let me also make the point, because of a subsequent point I'm going to make, that the law as it is today backs the actions of the OSP, the kind of aggressiveness with which they are trying to do their work. But let me quickly add that I disagree with the law. And to the extent that I disagree with the law, I think it will not be out of place for the OSP to chart a slightly different course, because the law says so. We don't have the time, so I can't go into it, but if I have the time, I'll go into it. If you read Article 14 and Article 19, you will see that the presumption of innocence is fundamental.
Correct.
And the Constitution is very careful. You shall not arrest the person. Shall not. Except under A, B, C, D, E. Okay? If you go to other portions, it says the person has no responsibility to participate in their own prosecution. I am of that view. In fact, the last time I was speaking about some things that I intend to take to the Supreme Court. I am stopped from doing so now because it will look like I'm backing somebody. One is what happened to Wontumi. The fact that when you arrest a person, you shouldn't be the one to give bail. If you read Article 14 to 19, you take the person before a judge. That's another matter. One of the things that I also believe
you can give bail. Police inquiry bail is lawful. If you
again, I wish I could do the law of it. If it's reasonable, it is lawful, but you don't keep the person 48 hours, then you slap a bill which is unreasonable. Those things. And I think
as for that,
good.
As for that, it's correct that they are misinterpreting the law.
That
once within 48 hours you have not released the person on bail,
yes,
you must take them to court.
Yes,
right.
Somebody is arguing about so those things. Now, one other thing that I sincerely believe, and I've even discussed with Martin because sometimes we don't have time. I feel somebody else should take it. It is not constitutional for any institution to declare a person wanted because they did not submit themselves to investigation. Why I say so is, again, if you read 14, the presumption of innocence is so fundamental. And it says you should not treat the person as if he's convicted. Now, we've done it over the years, but I always tell people that that's why Martin Gbebu went to court. And if you see all the things that he got, which had been done over the years, upon close scrutiny, we realize we're being wrong. Now, if you say, or if the Constitution says the person can be arrested, brought there for 48 hours, he doesn't even have to speak, then upon what do you say that because you are not coming, I am declaring you wanted, which is treating him like a criminal? And why can the OSP simply go and try the man in absentia?
Really?
Absolutely.
And they should be prosecuting all of us in absentia.
Well, I'm making the point. You see, again, before Martin went and said, even murderers should be left on bail until you can make a case against them. People are like, hey, a murderer, if you leave him, he's going to kill somebody. If you read the Constitution, it says that the purpose of bail is to confirm, to make sure that the person will submit themselves to court. My point remains, and again, we don't have the time for me to go through it, but here's the thing. If you are OSP, you are aggressive, whatever, you invite somebody and the person says, I won't come, arrest him. If you cannot arrest him or for some circumstances, he's refusing or whatever it is, proceed to court and try him in absentia. Or, as we do with bench warrants, go before a court and explain exactly why. It should only be a court that declares a person wanted, the way they are declaring Ken wanted.
You see the Interpol red notice list? Have you seen it?
I've seen it.
Have you gone on it?
I've gone on it,
There are
yes.
hundreds of people there who have been declared wanted by their countries.
Yes.
Those countries are not banana republics. It didn't take a court to ask them to be declared wanted.
It is not every country that gives bail to murderers. Our constitution, if you read it
Suspected.
carefully, yes.
Suspected murderers, not murderers.
Well, has Ken been proven guilty of anything? I am one of the people who was most critical of Ken in office from when he capped statutory funds, ESLA, EJAPA, E-Levy. People forget, because of some of the things we've said in the recent past, that myself and my Imani brothers were amongst the most critical. So I'm not saying anything, but has he been proven guilty of anything? And I'm saying, why does it look like a man who is sick? All of us knew, okay? Why does it look like there is a certain pressure on him to pay his own way, to participate in his own prosecution?
At the bottom of the notice of declaration, you find that he is presumed innocent.
Well,
that doesn't matter?
It does matter, but that's lip service. If you claim the person is presumed innocent.
Let's not take some, let's take all of it.
Yes, I'm taking all of it.
The declaration contains a caveat that the person is not guilty until proving so.
But wherever he goes under Interpol, he can be arrested and detained and sent into Ghana
and
like
that's
a criminal.
A global, lawful
Does it make
process.
It right? There was a time when human sacrifice was allowed. The law is not always coterminous with justice, which is why I'm making the point that the OSP is backed by law in what it is doing. But I do believe, just like Martin did, that if people go and look carefully at the law as it is, what the OSP must do with all the law at its disposal. In fact, it's easier for you to try somebody in absentia. Indeed, if you read the Constitution, it says that you can try the person either with his presence or with his lawyers.
Yeah, so the question I'm asking,
my point is,
the question that is being asked is, generally, you have heard that question. So you want us to create a precedent where I can decide to steal as much as I can steal from Ghana. All I need to do is to just escape from this country.
No.
And not make myself available. You say the OSP must arrest the person, or law enforcement must arrest whoever they suspect, if they must arrest them. They have gone to court. They got a warrant to arrest. The warrant to arrest may have a limitation to this jurisdiction, but they are able to trigger it beyond the jurisdiction because of Interpol, to say, we are looking for Samson Ladi. He may be in your country. It's the reason we have signed the mutual legal assistance law. So if you find him, bring him to us. The same way if somebody leaves your country, like they go to Canada and steal cars and bring to Ghana, and they are running away, arrest them for me and bring them. What's wrong with that system?
This is the problem. The person is sick or claims to be. He is in a situation where he says, I cannot come down. That's one. The law allows you to proceed against him in absentia. So, if you want to arrest the person, you haven't gone before a judge or anything, and by yourself, you have triggered the Interpol, whatever. I said the law backs what you are doing now.
There's a warrant, meaning you have gone before a judge.
There's a warrant for
arrest.
My point is this. There is a law that allows the OSP to proceed in absentia against this gentleman. Why have they not proceeded to try him in absentia? Because look, Sedina Tamaklo or so, tried, convicted, sentenced, and then she absconds. If you put...
Sedina was arrested. Sedina appeared before the court. Her plea was taken.
I am making a different point.
In the course of the trial, she runs out of the country.
My point is...
And as we speak, there are processes to arrest her. She ran. Felix is saying she didn't run.
Look,
she ran because
Samson, I haven't made a
she
point.
asked for permission to go for treatment.
I haven't made the
and
point.
never returned.
That one must be clarified.
I haven't made the point. I haven't made the point. The point I'm making is, Sedina essentially, who was tried and convicted, who is now a convict, is treated more or less essentially the same as somebody who has not been tried, not been convicted, who might well not be convicted. There is a problem there. So I'm saying, please, OSP, look, if I had to advise Ken as a brother, I would say, don't come to Ghana. I disagree with all the things that have happened and I've criticized them. But for your person and for the kind of vitriol that has been visited against you, don't come to Ghana. Wait and let them try you, let them convict you, and if they convict you, we'll take it from there. Sedina was convicted. It's a different thing from a person who has not been tried. And the law allows them to proceed against him in absentia. Do that.
Okay. The OSP is here. They will be explaining all of this, but for good reason and strategic reason, I want them to hold their breath. We'll hear you guys briefly before we go to the OSP.